good sleep is everything. That's why Ollie's science-backed support is made with a blend of melatonin and L-theanine for both kiddos and grown-ups. So when your mind won't switch off, you've got something that can help. Your racing thoughts and restless nights won't stand a chance. Find Ollie Sleep Solutions for the whole family at ollie.com. That's OLLY.com.
K-pop Demon Hunters, Haja Boys breakfast meal and Huntrix meal have just dropped at McDonald's. They're calling this a battle for the fans. What do you say to that, Rumi?
It's not a battle. So glad the Saja Boys could take breakfast and give our meal the rest of the day.
It is an honor to share.
No, it's our honor.
It is our larger honor.
No, really. Stop.
You can really feel the respect in this battle. Pick a meal to pick a side.
At participating McDonald's while supplies last.
Welcome to The Hypnotist, the show that gives you inside access to cutting-edge hypnosis with real clients facing genuine issues. Brought to you by the hypnotherapist demanded by celebrities, CEOs, and even royalty, Adam Cox. These recordings took place live from Evans Clinic in London's world-famous Harley Street. So, get yourself comfortable and enjoy today's episode of The Hypnotist.
Hi, it's Adam here. You're about to listen to a hypnosis session about quite a specific fear or insecurity. And I was working with a client that had recently been married and was planning a family. And one of the things that they were considering is having a family that was combined of biological children and adopted children. And initially, when they thought about the idea, they had lots of very visceral feelings that were negative against the idea. And logically, they had got to a point where they thought, actually, it could be a really good thing that they would want to do. This is the hypnosis session to help them fully accept that there would be challenges connected with that path, but they have the capabilities and resources to more than meet that particular challenge. So if you have any kind of fears about being a parent, for example, or fears as to whether or not you could be a good enough parent or dealing with difficulty with your children, these are the kind of themes that are included in this hypnosis session. And it does connect to this idea of being a parent to a child that may not be biologically yours, but is still part of your family. And that might be a step parent having this kind of mixed or hybrid family, or it might be a foster child or an adopted child. These are the kind of things that get connected to this session. Now, in the past, I would have talked about offering a free consultation call to anyone interested in working with me. I no longer offer free consultation calls. All consultation calls are paid. But if you like the idea of working with me and aren't ready to buy a consultation call, I've actually created a webinar that does a lot of the things that the free consultation call was covering before. And that webinar is 100% free. And I cover a lot of how I work and how hypnosis works, what it does, what it doesn't do. And there's suggestibility tests in that webinar and some very special bonuses at the end of that webinar as well. So if you're interested in hearing me talk for about an hour on that webinar, there will be a link in the description. For now, though, I'd like you to find a quiet, comfortable place where you won't be distracted or disturbed. Relax and enjoy the session. Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in that resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, that's it. Just allow your eyelids to feel heavy. And with your eyes closed, notice how much easier it becomes to focus on the sound of my voice. That's it. Position your body in a way where relaxation is inevitable. That you can breathe in relaxation and exhale tension. Each breath feels like a release valve. Just letting go of any unsettled emotions. And the deeper you breathe, the more relaxed you feel. And the more relaxed you feel, the deeper you breathe. As your body relaxes, your imagination awakens. And I wonder if you could imagine a pathway on cliff tops by the ocean in San Diego. Imagine blue skies, the sound of waves there in the distance. And I wonder if you could imagine a staircase, maybe wooden stairs, or maybe stairs built into the cliffs that take you down from the cliff top to the shore. And very soon, as I count down from 10 to 1, I want you to imagine what it would feel like to walk from the cliff tops down to the beach, closer to the ocean. Your unconscious already knows. This trip down the staircase is a metaphor, representing moving from the conscious to the unconscious, from the logic to the emotion. And as you imagine going down the stairs, you start to appreciate how much of the logical work you've already done. The research, the analysis, the facts and the stats. But this is a journey into the emotion. Counting from 10 to 1, just imagine walking down the staircase. Each descending number takes you deeper and deeper relaxed. 10, that first step. Maybe there's a breeze. Maybe there's sunshine. 9, another step down that staircase. And I want you to imagine that each number gets you 10% closer to the beach. Maybe that's a few steps. 8, another step down, just feeling a wave of relaxation going from your facial muscles down your neck, down into your arms. As 8 becomes 7, even feel your internal organs starting to relax. Your heart relaxes, your stomach relaxes, even your lungs. As 7 becomes 6, now very close to getting halfway. As 5, you hit the halfway mark, halfway down from the cliff tops to the beach. As 5 becomes 4, just feel your arms and legs feeling limp, loose and heavy. 3, continuing down. Maybe there is the smell of the salt air. Maybe there is a texture of sand that you can feel underneath your feet. 5 becomes 4, becomes 3. Now 2/3 of the way down toward the beach. There, and maybe it's close to sunset, or maybe it's in the middle of the day. But connect with that feeling of peace, tranquility. And here in your imagination, you have the whole beach and the whole cliff top just for you, no one else around. This is a journey of solitude, of connection, allowing emotional breakthroughs that enhance, empower, and perhaps open more awareness. As 3 becomes 2, getting close now to the beach. 2 becomes 1, feel a ripple of relaxation from your toes to the top of your head down to the fingertips. And 1 becomes 0. And imagine feeling grounded as you're barefoot there on the sand. looking up at the cliff top, seeing how far you've come down. And I want you to imagine finding the most comfortable chair there on the beach. The kind of chair that should not be on the beach. Maybe a luxurious recliner, soft and comfortable, and just imagine climbing into that chair. There, where the sand meets the ocean. Each breath taking you deeper and deeper relaxed. Opening the full power of neuroplasticity to enable wonderful, positive changes. And you know there's the vibrancy, the yellow, the oranges of the cliffs, the shades and hues of blue in the sea and the sky. But I want you to connect inwards, deep within. And let's call this deep within your quiet center, the place where the most important understandings settle. That thoughts become ideas, ideas become beliefs, and beliefs become natural ways of thinking. And you've wondered many times about what love actually is. Because there's a version of love that arrives automatically, without effort. And there is another love that is built deliberately, day by day, through presence and attention, that accumulation of shared experiences. And you know what is true about both versions of love. That neither is deeper than the other by nature. That what determines the depth of love is not the mechanisms by which it began, but the quality of attention that has been given to it across time. And you already know this from direct experience. Because the love you feel for those, maybe a nephew, a dog, a pet, but those who did not come from you, but came into your life and lodged themselves there regardless, help make you understand without preparation that your heart and your capacity for love perhaps was larger than you had estimated it to be. That was not a smaller love, because it was not biological, it was simply love, full and real, and entirely yours. And every father who has ever held a child in their arms for the first time, regardless of how that child came to be in his arms, has connected with a very special shift. The particular shift that happens when responsibility fuses with devotion. When the abstract idea of a child becomes this specific, irreplaceable person who needs you, and who you discover you are willing to reorganize yourself entirely to serve. And I want you to get a sense that anyone can father a child. Anyone that produces sperm has that capacity. But very few have the capacity, through choice, decisions, intentions, to truly be the father wonder if there's a part within that already knows that you have the capacity to love, and that love will exist for every child in your family. And it won't require manufacture, affirmations, or effort. It will grow naturally from the same source that genuine love has always grown from. Presence, commitment, and the simple daily practice of showing up and doing what needs to be done. Because love is what you do, not only what you feel. And the bonds you build through presence and commitment, they can grow to full depth every time with every child who becomes yours. A parent does not love all their children identically, because no two children are identical. A great parent loves each child completely, specifically, for exactly who that child is. And that completeness is the same for each one, regardless of how they arrived. And you could think of it the way a craftsman thinks about their work. That every piece they produce receives their full attention, complete skill, entire care. And the fact that one piece was made with different materials or began in different circumstances doesn't mean it receives a fraction of what another received. It receives everything, because everything is what this craftsman brings to every piece that they work on. And the children in your family will be different from each other in the ways all children are different from each other. Personality, temperament, interests, in the specific ways they need to be loved and challenged and supported. And that ability to be flexible, intuitive, and not to treat them identically, but to treat each of them completely. And your unconscious already understands how to do this, because it understands that complete love is not a finite resource. There is no zero-sum game here. Complete love multiplies. It does not divide. Every child you love adds to the total, rather than reducing anyone else's share. It's one of the genuinely counterintuitive facts of parenthood. The more you love, the more love you have to give. And there is something worth understanding about those challenges that not may come with parenting, but will come. They come with every child in every family. And the challenges are not evidence that something has gone wrong. And they're not mechanisms from which the most important things happen. I want you to get a feeling that the very things through which children develop character, resilience, and the particular kind of wisdom that only comes from having gone through something difficult. In fact, the bigger the challenges, the more opportunity for growth. That is true for your children and equally true for you. Because you are someone who has intentionally sought out difficulty. You've understood intuitively that the version of yourself forged through genuine challenge is more capable and more real than the version that took the easy road, that never encountered resistance. People don't get stronger by lifting light weights. They get stronger by lifting weights beyond their capability, and the body adapts. And I wonder just how many skills and enhancement to your character, your thinking, your capabilities will come in this journey of parenthood. And the children that have known difficulty before they arrive carry something with them because of it. Not only wounds, but also resources. A resilience built early and tested already. A knowledge of their own capacity to survive things that were hard. You will be asked to fix what they carry. You will be asked to accept, to understand, to help them manage their own path through their journey, to help them become strong, capable, perhaps even formidable. And the moments of greatest difficulty in your family's life together, those misunderstandings, the friction, the conversations that are hard to begin and even harder to finish, these are not failures of the family. They are the family becoming stronger. Bonds and boundaries being tested and discovered. And there is no bond quite as durable as the one that has been tested and has been held. Consider a great tree. Not a young one, but an established one. The kind of tree that has been in place long enough to have developed roots that go deep and wide below the surface. Roots that hold through weather that would overturn something shallower. The tree does not ask how each branch came to exist before it decides how much water to send to it. It sends everything it has to every branch through the same root system, the same resources, the same stability, the same capacity to hold even in the kind of weather that tests what the roots are made of. And you can't control the branches. They will grow differently from each other, in different directions at different rates, with different shapes and different responses to the seasons. But the tree is beautiful, not by being perfectly symmetrical, but by having balance with all of its differences. The tree provides the conditions in which every branch can become fully what it is and what it's meant to be. And you are building this tree. The roots are the values and the commitment and the daily presence that will go deeper with every year. And those large branches are the children. It will grow in the directions that are genuinely theirs, different from each other, completely supported by the same root system, and casting between them a shade that will eventually extend further than you can currently see. And and the branches beyond their branches. I want you to think of grandchildren influenced by the tree itself, values that ripple across generations, that influence. You are building roots, deep, strong, and shared equally by every branch. And the tree you are planting will cast shade that you will live to sit in, surrounded by everyone that it sheltered. And before we leave this beach, let's think forward into a future. Allow yourself to travel forward in time, not months but years, perhaps to a version of your life that has had time to become fully itself. Perhaps you could imagine yourself in a room or a garden, somewhere that has become the gathering place for your family. And around you are the people who are yours, not because of blood alone, but because of years of presence, of meals shared, of difficulties navigated, of laughter that has built a specific texture between people who know and care for each other deeply. But in this future, the children who joined your family are not children anymore. Imagine them as adults. And you don't have to see their faces, but you can feel their presence and perceive particular qualities that grew in the specific conditions of your family. Things like resilience, intelligence, humor, ambition, mental strength, tenacity, kindness. See those qualities and know that you influenced it. You can't force anyone to be anyone other than who they choose to be. But you can provide all of the resources to influence, to enhance, to assist. So imagine this family of good people, not perfect because no one is. And perfection was never what you were building toward, but genuinely good people. The kind of people who are honest about difficulty and generous in the ways that matter, who have taken what was given to them and made something worthy of it. Maybe you notice smiles, affection, consideration, not from fear, but from thoughtfulness. Perhaps you could imagine your partner beside you, older, but still beautiful. See the connection, shared smiles, eye contact. And maybe you can get a sense of pride from just the idea of this future that you're building. And just allow any insights, any thoughts to ripple back from that idea of the future all the way back to the present. And feel that your unconscious is unlocking any resources required to move toward that future and melting away any fears. Not because fears aren't valid, but because fears are manageable. You can mitigate them. You can prepare. And you can reduce the probability of those fears by controlling what's in your sphere of influence and influencing and accepting that which is not. allow all of this insight and wisdom to ripple back into your present. And then imagine leaving that comfy recline chair there on the beach. And I want you to imagine you're now wearing clothing suitable to swim. But I want you to see some marks like dirt or mud or grime there on your skin. These are the remnants of old beliefs, old ideas that you don't hold anymore. But there's just some residue still on you. So imagine swimming in the ocean and washing all of those old beliefs, old narratives, old stories away that just don't serve you anymore. And when you leave the ocean, notice how clean you are. That those old stories, beliefs, and narratives just aren't on you anymore. They're diluted to nothingness there in the ocean. And then imagine it's time to leave the beach, climb up towards the cliffs. As you start to prepare to return to the present with a new sense of clarity, open-mindedness, perhaps even excitement as to the future that you're building, the tree that you're planting, and all the wonderful things that will come from that future. As you imagine climbing up that cliffside staircase, take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Just wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes, connect and calibrate into the here and the now. As I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake. Thank you so much for joining me on today's episode of The Hypnotist. If you've enjoyed this episode or got some value from it, please give it a 5-star rating and review. And maybe you know someone that would also benefit from this particular episode, in which case share the episode with them so they can also get the benefit too. And if you would like to listen to this episode where it's just the hypnosis, so no intro, no outro, no explanation, just the hypnosis and completely ad-free, there will be a link in the description where you can subscribe at a very low cost and only get access to the hypnosis. So if that's of interest, please check that out. Thank you again for being a regular listener of The Hypnotist, and I'll see you again soon for more.